When you think of a blockbuster gaming success, what immediately springs to mind? Probably Fortnite, the newest Call of Duty, or League of Legends, right? These AAA moguls built on years of refined gameplay started off as established ideas with a new twist. But once in a blue moon, a new type of genre enters the market. An idea that's so simple and effective you wonder why nobody has done it before. Simplistic bean-shaped characters, colorful maps, and party-style chaotic gameplay. No, we're not talking about Among Us. That was a different video. We are talking about Fall Guys. While the game released only this past August, it took over streaming sites in a way that was unprecedented. However, for reasons that we will discuss, it ultimately could not hold its popularity for long, and has been on the decline ever since. What caused this sudden rise and fall? Let's find out. This is Fall Guys.
And here's Terry Purdue. She's a clown shoe resoler.
You know what they say about clowns with big feet?
Oh, yeah.
The idea for Fall Guys was originally made by two developers at Mediatonic, a British games development studio. Joe Walsh, inspired by game shows like Takeshi's Castle and Total Wipeout, drafted up a game concept he called Fool's Gauntlet, where a player would go up against 100 others in a battle royale composed of physical challenges. The idea was certainly novel, and with some assistance from concept artist Dan Huang, who came up with the bean-shaped characters racing on an obstacle course in the sky, it was pitched to 10 different publishers at the 2018 Games Developers Conference. Devolver Digital agreed to publish the game, and it began development 6 months later. Later renamed to Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, the game began to take the form it's known for today. Some of the gameplay pillars followed during the game's design process was to make each minigame 50-50 chaos and skill. Aiming to be as faithful to the game show concept as possible, the developers strived for replayability and had an internal rule that each game mode needed to be simple enough to be explained in 3 words. Over time, the player count for a match was reduced from 100 to 60, as developers noticed that playtesters overestimated the amount of players in a level regardless and saw that it, quote, stopped being readable or fun. The concept for the characters looking the way that they were was from It's a Knockout, a game show that forced its contestants to dress up in oversized costumes, making them badly dressed for the tasks that they were going to go through. Ragdoll physics were implemented because Mediatonic did not want them to be hyper-athletic ninja warrior characters, and because, quote, falling over is funny.
Here's Kenny earlier this afternoon.
I tested the wall first. It's pretty solid.
The game was announced at E3 in June 2019 for an early 2020 release. Following a delay, the game ended up being released in August this year for PC and PlayStation 4. Suffice to say, the game was an instant success. Within 24 hours of release, the game had drawn over 1.5 million players and crashed its servers repeatedly. On the day after release, it peaked on Twitch with 252,000 viewers, with every major Twitch player signing on and participating in the mayhem. And just 6 days after launch, Devolver Digital announced that the game had sold over 2 million copies on Steam. So what happened? Well, to start, the game was a fresh, original idea. Even though it shared themes with Mario Party and Battle Royales, it fused the two in a way that hadn't been done before. The progression of skill and feeling of getting better at each minigame was satisfying. Casual players could simply work on memorizing the course and getting through the chaos, and competitive players could optimize by looking for any shortcut they could find to shave a few seconds off. While the race was to get to the end, players had the option to grab and push others during a round. So some would wait at the end to try and knock off incoming players to ensure that they wouldn't proceed. This often had mixed results and made for some very clippable highlights that were shared plenty.
Ah! No! No, I didn't do it, you piece of shit!
Because there was such chaos and a decent amount of luck involved, the rush of getting the winning crown at the end was immense, even spawning one big streamer Tim the Tatman his own anime-style arc for not being able to get a win in the game until some time.
Nick, figure it out.
There it is. Go, 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 go.
This kid! Break your mother. Look me in the eyes when you're trying to greet me, little.
No, you're good.
Oh my God.
Trust me. Just go slow. Tim. Tim, let's go. Plenty of real estate.
One left.
This is you, one-on-one, Tim.
Tim, you got this!
Nice and easy.
Let's go! You said it couldn't be done! There's the king!
Chalk it up to old genre fatigue, a fresh idea, or just old-fashioned fun, but when Fall Guys released, everyone was playing it. Following its debut, Fall Guys continued to climb viewership and sales charts, beating out League of Legends with 182,000 viewers on Twitch and peaking at over 170,000 concurrent players on Steam. By the end of August, the game had sold over 7 million copies on Steam, and became the most downloaded PS Plus game of all time. However, This success did not last. Following its smashing release in August, the game began to slowly dwindle viewership and concurrent player counts. What happened? With such a formula for fun, why did players move on so quickly? To start, the server issues plaguing the game took some time to iron out. The game was incredibly popular, sure, but it was so popular to the point that Devolver Digital had an increasing amount of trouble keeping up with the demand. Constant hitches, lag spikes, and trouble getting into the game were just some of the problems that impacted players. While this issue was rectified in due time, the other problem wasn't. Hacks. There is an argument to be made that Fall Guys is considered to be competitive, just by the fact of the matter that the game ends in a winner. Twitch Rivals even had its own tournament series for the game where top streamers competed against each other in public lobbies. And wherever the competitive spirit exists, there are bad actors trying to achieve victory by any means necessary. Unfortunately, the still fairly small team of developers were unequipped for the sudden influx of cheaters running game hacks. It was incredibly demoralizing playing a game and seeing another player just fly overhead towards the end, essentially ruining it for the 59 other players in the lobby.
Get these hackers out of the game. What am I looking at, dude? He's eating the balls for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Get him out, dude. He sucks. He's hacking, and he might even lose, dude. Oh my God, imagine hacking and sucking this much, dude. He's trash. He's so bad.
While this on its own did provide for some funny clips with streamers interacting with them, it was ultimately a problem that took too long to settle and be dealt with. While the game was intended to be like every other battle royale where the opponents you faced were random, there was a big request from the player base for private lobbies, partially to be able to play with a group that you trust, thus avoiding cheaters, and partially so these tournament events that were happening could be hosted without worry of random players stream sniping and influencing the end winner unfairly. These issues, while significant, were dealt with one way or the other. However, this last problem with the game was perhaps a bit more core. Replayability. Games of Fall Guys were different from the other in that the minigame order was randomized. However, once you have played the minigame itself enough times, you kinda have seen it all has to offer. The novelty of the ragdoll physics and the chaos of the sheer amount of players bumping into each other becomes pedestrian with time. Maybe not a fault, but perhaps an inevitability for the type of design. Because of this lower skill ceiling, competitive-minded players became bored with the game's offerings fairly quickly, and moved back to their game of choice. And casuals, once they felt like they had seen everything, did the same. The cosmetics were plentiful, and the game did even sport a free battle pass. But even the collabs with other IPs wasn't enough to hold the players to keep playing the same maps they had over and over. One common argument that is made with regards to the fall of Fall Guys is that it was Among Us that took its thunder. While that might be partially true, as Among Us did certainly have much more of a meteoric rise to fame, and fulfilled many of the same gameplay notes like being easy to learn, hard to master, simplistic streamlined gameplay, and was fun to watch someone else play, it's probably a bit unfair to place all of the blame onto it. While streamers moving from one game to the next does signify the decline of a particular title, many games before it have had the same happen to them and retain their player numbers more significantly. Perhaps Fall Guys just did not have the same stopping power. Following launch, aiming to have the typical BR post-release content drip, Fall Guys Season 2 released in October. While the medieval theming played well into the game's aesthetic and gameplay, the new challenges were still not enough to sustain player interest. Additionally, with the way the minigame's rotation system worked, it was tricky for players to actually try out the new maps. If you were simply unlucky, there was a chance that you just continued getting the old minigames in the rotation, and did not see any of the new content for some time. This problem was made apparent very quickly, and got fixed eventually with the appearance rate of the new maps being increased. By the end of October, the game's concurrent player count on Steam peaked at 80,000, formidable but half of the numbers in the previous month. Twitch viewership continued to bleed as well, but the game still managed to peak at 250,000 thanks to some events and tournaments that continue to run, but overall on a lower average comparatively. In the end, did Fall Guys release with some major flaw? Not really. Hype is a fickle thing. And we have talked about many games on this channel that go through this exact same cycle of starting with astronomical numbers and ending with disappointment numerically. But numbers don't tell the whole story. The game still has plenty of players between its console and PC release to fill up lobbies. Twitch Rivals continues to host competitive events as well, even re-entering mainstream news with some recent stream sniping drama regarding major Twitch streamer XQC. So it's certainly not all doom and gloom, and there's still room for growth. Season 3 was revealed recently and is coming in December. A gameplay showcase of it was broadcasted at the Game Awards, advertising 7 new maps and over 30 new cosmetics. While it's nothing significantly game-changing, if you like what the game offers currently, this is more of it, so fans should be satisfied. Despite the numbers today, Fall Guys continues to be a success. It started out fairly small, but turned out to be a big hit with players despite the fact that it wasn't a shooter, MOBA, or other common popular genre. Looking at the numbers, some could consider the game to be a fad in its passing phase. But if there's one thing that Fall Guys teaches you, is that when you fall, the only thing left to do is get back up. This video was made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. A massive thank you to everybody on this list, and shout out to Jason, Foxy, Lyra, Mauve, Nate, Nathan, Sierra, Sammy, Shampoo, Weeaboo, and Spartacus for being Platinum supporters. And an extra special shout out to Noodles, Marco, and Steven for being Diamond supporters. Thanks a ton, everybody. If you also want to support our channel and unlock perks, check out the Patreon link in the description below, or join our Discord server. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Nikita, and thank you for watching.